oh, somebody's in big trouble. And guess what? That somebody is Marvel Studios. Because the gun's not jamming and Marvel's starting to look at DC Studios like,
looks like we got competition.
Because we just got a whole bunch of insane new updates about the future of the DC universe, including some massive updates on the Batman Part 2, where the script is at, some story details on who the potential villain could be, or villains. Updates on a sequel for Soon. Why everyone should be excited for Jason Momoa as Lobo, and so much more. James Gunn is really putting his nuts on the table and putting his hand on Dwayne Johnson's shoulder and saying, do you feel in charge? Because either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. And this news comes to us from the head honcho at DC Studios himself, James Gunn, via Josh Horowitz's Happy Sad Confused podcast. Make sure you follow that because he is one of the greatest interviewers of our time. But let's start off with all the Batman news that James Gunn gave us, because he gave us updates on the Batman Part 2 as well as the DCU's version of Batman. First of all, James Gunn said he's read the script that Mattson Tomlin and Matt Reeves delivered to him, and he said he likes it. They're headed in the right direction, but there's some things they gotta work out, but it's headed in the right direction for sure. Which I feel is like about as vague an answer you can give. But thanks to a couple industry insiders, we learned that the Batman Part 2 is looking to start casting this fall. Time to dust off the LinkedIn portfolio. But this casting process is going to be very interesting because it's going to reveal to us who some of the potential villains could be. A while back, it was reported that Clayface could be a potential villain for the Batman Part 2, which got people excited because it meant that they were going to start diving deeper into the fantastical element, or they could be going the old school Basil Karlo route where he just wears a mask and he's like a serial killer. And thanks to Nexus Point News, we learned that Clayface was always supposed to take place in Matt Reeves' universe, before ultimately James Gunn saying, I'll take that into my universe. And we also got some interesting updates on the Clayface movie, but I want to stick on the Batman subject before we touch on that. I think there's actually a lot of villains that could potentially show up in the Batman Part 2, mainly Hush, just because we know that Hush was teased in the first Batman movie. We also know the reporter that Carmine Falcone killed for Thomas Wayne, who just wanted him to put the fear of God in his eyes instead. Edward Elliot, potentially meaning that this could be Tommy Elliott's relative, father, something. You know, I personally think the Hush storyline is pretty cool. I wouldn't put it way up there. I mean, the Hush movie itself is kind of because if you know the twist in that movie with the Riddler, you just know it's kind of just sour taste in your mouth, but I could see them going that route as well, which, you know, I don't know if I would like that at all, to be honest. But Hush is definitely up there as a potential villain. And I feel like the one that makes the most sense is the Court of Owls. Matt Reeves has teased that there's corruption going even deeper than just Carmine Falcone within Gotham, which most likely means the Court of Owls. And while, yeah, we did see the Court of Owls in the Gotham TV show, seeing them show up in Matt Reeves' universe would just be so fire. And mind you, we got a tease in the Penguin TV series of the Court of Owls too. So it looks like the puzzle pieces are starting to fall in place. And speaking of the Penguin, don't think we forgot how that show ended and how you did Victor. And with that light hitting the sky as a warning, I just know Oz is shitting his pants because I need Batman to get that lick back for Victor. So his story definitely got to factor into the Batman Part 2. And don't forget, we still got Barry Keoghan's Joker locked up at Arkham. I do feel like they're playing the long game with this version of Joker, and we'll probably just get another little tease at him again. The deleted scene between him and Batman is fire, by the way. Check that out if you haven't. And we can't forget everyone's favorite baddies in Sophia Falcone, my bad, Sophia Gigante, and Selena Kyle's Catwoman, because in this universe, they're half sisters. And her story ain't finished either because Selena Kyle sent her a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from. Your sister. But Matt, show me their moms, Matt. Show me their moms, Matt. Where the moms at, Matt? Because I know for damn sure they didn't get their looks from Carmine. And yes, for the umpteenth time, James Gunn has confirmed that Matt Reeves, the Batman, takes place in a separate universe than his DCU Batman. I don't know. This, for some reason, deep down, I still don't trust this. Even though James Gunn is saying it, it's not like he hasn't lied in the past. Because you just know Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, the people who really run the business, want to make as much money as they can. They don't give a fuck about universes and how it fits. He's going to look at James and Matt Reeves and say, make it wick. Because I'm not going to hold you. That's an easy Billy. And James Gunn seemingly added a little bit more fuel to the fire by saying Batman Brave and the Bold and the Batman Part 2 will not release in the same calendar year. So if we're led to believe that the Batman Part 2 comes out in 2027, then when the fuck are we getting Batman Brave and the Bold? We're not getting it next year. 2028 the earliest? And there is the whole aspect of our general audiences ready to see two different versions of a Batman. Like, don't get me wrong, me, you, diehard comic book fans, we don't give a fuck. I'll watch 5 different versions of Batman on the big screen. I don't care. But again, this is a business. What are David Zaslav and Warner Brothers thinking? They are, to put it nicely, dinosaurs. It's just funny how quiet it's been on the Batman Brave and the Bold front, but all of a sudden Wonder Woman is going into production. Mind you, Batman Brave and the Bold was announced with the first wave of Gods and Monsters that James Gunn announced, what, 3 years ago? Allegedly, Andy Muschietti is still the director, but James says they're still working through the script. It's just not adding up to me. I don't believe it one bit. Plus, after The Flash, who wants to watch him direct a Batman movie? Not me. His Batman movie would be 2 packs of ass. And again, until I definitively see it, I'm not going to believe it. Because again, for the last 6 months, I've been saying, you're lying to yourself if you think this does not work. This cannot work. Whether it be Robert Pattinson's Batman being integrated into the DCU, or Robert Pattinson and Superman just interacting through some multiversal shenanigans some way, somehow, they're gonna meet, I feel like. At the end of the day, I really don't care one way or the other. I just want to see a world's finest movie. I don't care which version of Batman it is. And Creature Commandos did keep the Batman cameo vague enough in a silhouette form, even though he is built like a comic accurate Batfleck type Batman. I'm not gonna hold you. I want a Batman that moves like Arkham Batman for real. The warehouse fight scene is still the best hand-to-hand combat we've ever seen a Batman do in live action. It was almost perfect, and then Zack Snyder handed him multiple guns. Multiple fucking guns. And honestly, I'm ready for James Gunn to just say, man, fuck all of y'all. Give me Batman. I'll write it next. This shit can't be that hard. Give me a gray and blue suit Batman. Give me a Bat family. Give me some Dick Grayson. That was a crazy pause. Simply put, James, I'm asking you to unload that gun on him, fool. James, I need you on that Lex Luthor time. I want you to strike back at Marvel Studios like 1A, 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 1A. Even though I love both Marvel and DC, I like to see them fighting because it just means that we're gonna get better competition. It's healthy. I love this shit for real. Like, are you gonna put something out good? You gonna put something out ass? Moving on to James Gunn talking about Lobo and Supergirl. That man, James, as much as I love him, could not wait to unzip Jason Momoa as Lobo's pants and glaze the fuck out of them. He simply said, Lobo is freaking awesome. Jason Momoa is so, oh my god, yeah. Lobo is great. Yeah, in case you forgot, Jason Momoa is playing Lobo in the new DC universe, and he's gonna appear in Supergirl. And I'm not gonna hold you. This is probably one of, if not the greatest superhero castings of all time. I'm just letting you know right now, get ready to fall in love with Lobo the same way you fell in love with Peacemaker. Because even though they're adapting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow for the new Supergirl movie, Lobo never appeared in that story, so it looks like they're going to be taking some elements of this Brave and the Bold Supergirl Lobo comic. Shout out Mark Waid. So I hope they adapt some of these classic panels like this or like this, because in case you didn't know, she is not Kal-El. She built different for real, and I kind of need that. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Lobo's going to get a solo movie, solo series, something. And that eventual fight with Big Blue. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. That's going to feed generations. James Gunn was also asked if Lex Luthor will ever don his mechanical suit. And James said, yeah, like, we got plenty of story to tell with him. And yeah, we better crazy head play. And yeah, we better see that because I need that. We need that. And I hope they treat Lex Luthor the same way they treated Loki in the MCU. Just keep bringing that man back because he's a demon. A bald-headed one at that. I think we ain't done yet because James Gunn also revealed that they're not going to have a Aquaman or the Flash for the first 2 years of this new DC universe, at least. Which definitely makes a lot of sense since they were both heavily featured in the DCEU between Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller. It's just funny that he had both of them as the only 2 cameos of the Justice League in Peacemaker Season 1. Fuck it, might as well just start off with Wally West. James Gunn also revealed that Brainiac was almost the main villain of Superman. We're getting Brainiac crumbs, I cannot wait. I'm telling y'all, I feel like he's the real master planner. He's going to be like the first actual overarching villain for this new DC universe. That brother's out there in space just collecting data as an alien artificial intelligence. Snyder fans, we got some crumbs. James Gunn does not hate Henry Cavill. He even said that he would love to have Henry Cavill play another role in the DC universe. So who could he potentially play? I don't know. Drop a comment letting me know. James Gunn also said that Peacemaker is a direct follow-up to Superman and it's very R-rated. Also said that what happens in Peacemaker Season 2 will have huge ramifications for the DC universe at large, which in my opinion is W marketing. Make sure you go watch Peacemaker is basically what he's saying. And on top of that, it looks like the Authority movie has kind of been shelved as the writer has moved on to a different project in the DC universe. And with the introduction of the Engineer, I always felt like the Authority had to come up at some point in time. It is weird that James decided to basically replace Mercy Graves with the Engineer. That was essentially the role she played. So if they're taking any cues from the comics, I hope the next Superman sequel is like a Superman versus the Elite type story. Obviously, James is going to have his own spin on it, so fuck it. Let's just do Superman versus the Authority, but do like the most recent adaptation where we get Manchester Black. And hey, I'm just saying, Phil Dunster, Jamie Tart would make a great Manchester Black in the DC universe. And our final piece of news is on Clayface, which is about to go into production. He said it's a total horror movie, kind of like a big Blumhouse film, which I don't really know if that's a good thing to say nowadays. But we got even more details on the Clayface movie thanks to Nexus Point News. They're saying the character of Clayface in the film will be named Matt Hagen as an amalgamation of Hagen with Basil Carlo's backstory. Hagen is described as a handsome, up-and-coming actor in Gotham who's attacked and disfigured, which ruins his reputation, and he eventually turns into a shape-shifting monster. Hagen's love interest and co-star is Dr. Caitlin Bates, an OC who is the CEO of a biotech startup seeking to create cutting-edge and medical technology. She wants to grow her company and help him. She also has a fiance who is a detective and is suspicious of her and Matt's relationship. And the antagonist is a crime boss. So it sounds to me like it's basically going to be like The Substance, but in the DC universe. So shit, sign me up. James was also asked if Batman could appear in another project before his own movie, and James said, I'm not going to answer that. And sadly, James Gunn also revealed that his next movie is not a world's finest film, but that Superman is very important to it, and that he will announce it very, very soon. I wonder what it could be. Maybe a Terrifics? Moving on to some more super news. According to Variety, a Wonder Woman movie is being fast-tracked over at DC Studios. Now, if you remember a few weeks back, James Gunn actually said that Wonder Woman and Batman are important pillars of his DC universe, but he said whenever they have good scripts is when they're going to be made. So it looks like they found a good script, and now all of the pieces are coming together. Now we need to get our creatives around the team, a good director, and we also need to cast our new Wonder Woman. Y'all already know who I would love to see in a role, so I'm going to just leave it at that. Now, the interesting thing for this story is that it's not going to be an origin story because we already know that Themyscira exists thanks to Creature Commandos, which featured a newscast of Amazonians on the the screen, so we very well could be working with a Diana Prince that's already been in action, very similarly to Superman. Now, I'm praying and hoping that they redeem Cersei, who was nerfed to hell in Creature Commandos, mainly so I can see Anya Chilatra, who voiced Cersei, play her in live action as well, but also so I can see her full capabilities in live action for the first time. Either way, I'm so glad we're most likely going to get the most faithful adaptation to a Wonder Woman we've ever seen on the screen. And we're one crazy head place. Man, you know what? Fuck it, we ball. But this gets us 2 steps closer to seeing the DCU's version of the Trinity in live action. But who could be the Batman? But that's all the new news we got about the DC universe. Let me know what you think about my thoughts, theories, and opinions down in the comments below. And as always, like and follow for more.